American singer James Joe Brown Jr. was born on May 3, 1933, in Barnwell, South Carolina. James Brown and his family lived in extreme poverty. When Brown was 2 years old, his parents separated after his mother left his father for another man. After his mother abandoned the family, Brown continued to live with his father until the age of 6. After this period, Brown and his father moved to Augusta, Georgia. His father handed Brown over to an aunt who ran a house of prostitution. Although Brown lived with relatives, he spent long periods on his own, wandering the streets. During his childhood, Brown earned money shining shoes, selling and exchanging stamps, washing cars and dishes, and singing in talent contests. As a young man, James Joe Brown Jr. sang in gospel choirs, played piano, drums, and guitar. He was also linked to groups of criminals, which earned him some time in prison. In the mid-1950s, he was part of the Golden Starlighters, a gospel group that evolved into rhythm and blues under the name The Famous Flames. In 1956, they recorded the single Please, Please, Please 1956, an immediate success, followed by Try Me 1958. The group, led by the increasingly charismatic figure of James Brown, consolidated its place in rhythm and blues with the live recording live at the Apollo 1962 remastered edition in 2004, testimony to Brown's dedication on stage and the consequent hysteria generated in the public. His personal life was filled with unpleasantness. In the late 1980s, he was arrested for possession and consumption of drugs after a car chase by the police. He was sentenced to 6 years in prison. Released for good behavior in 1991, he was arrested again in 1995 for domestic violence. The 90s revealed Brown's influence on several rap and hip-hop projects in terms of the use of beats, rhythms, sounds, and even Brown's own screams in various themes. During the late 1960s and early 1960s, James Brown was recognized for his social work. In 1966, he released the single Don't Be a Dropout as a lesson for young students who intended to give up their studies. Later, he gave speeches to dozens of children, reminding them of the importance of education at school. In 1967, he released a patriotic single, America Is My Home, which was a rap about. On December 23, 2006, an ill James Brown showed up at his dentist's office in Atlanta, Georgia, several hours after his scheduled appointment for a dental implant. During this visit, Brown's dentist noted that he looked very unwell, weak, and dizzy. Instead of getting the implant, the dentist recommended that Brown see a doctor immediately. Brown went to Crawford Long Hospital at Emory University in Atlanta on December 24, 2006 for a medical evaluation of his condition and was admitted to this hospital for observation and treatment. According to longtime friend and agent Charles Bobbitt, Brown had been sick and coughing since returning from a trip to Europe in November. 46 Bobbitt added that it was characteristic of Brown to never tell or complain to anyone about being sick, including during concerts. 46, although Brown had canceled shows in Waterbury and Englewood, Brown was confident the doctor would release him from the hospital in time to perform New Year's Eve shows. On December 25, 2006, Brown died at approximately 1:45 a.m. of heart failure resulting from complications from pneumonia, with his agent Frank Copsidas and his friend Charles Bobbitt by his side. According to Bobbitt, Brown uttered the words, "I'm leaving tonight." An investigation led by the American broadcaster CNN and released on February 2, 2019, points to evidence that the cause of the singer's death may have been murder. The CNN report interviewed 140 people and analyzed documents that raised suspicion of murder of the singer and his third wife. Brown's doctor, Marvin Crawford, reported that a nurse found drug residue in a breathing tube used by Brown. He said someone could have given him an illicit substance, which led to his death. With his comparable voice and electrifying stage presence, James Brown gradually ascended the stage of the R&B circuit until he achieved stardom with hits such as Please, Please, Please and Papa's Got a Brand New Bag. His music transcended racial and cultural barriers, uniting people through the power of groove. In addition to his unique vocal talent, James Brown revolutionized music with his innovative rhythmic approach. His complex arrangements and ability to lead a band like a maestro took funk to new heights, influencing generations of musicians across genres. Even after his death, James Brown's legacy continues to resonate. His music continues to be sampled and revered by artists around the world, while his message of empowerment and social justice remains as relevant as ever. James Brown's life was an emotional roller coaster, but his impact on music and society is undeniable. He not only left behind a vast catalog of timeless music, but also an example of perseverance, passion, and commitment to change. May your soul remain alive in every drum beat and guitar chord, reminding us of the transformative power of music and the resilience of the human spirit.